Hello, welcome back to Shea with Peg Leg. Got a quick unboxing and then we'll get into the shave. Been wanting to get this scent for like 5 months. Excuse me again. Now my voice is still not 100%, but it is getting better. But I've been wanting to get this for like 5 months and I kept putting it off. I finally just said screw it and did it. There's no box for it. I guess it's a tester. Kind of well wrapped though. Something to play with later. If I can ever get it out of here. This is DS Indica Burning Barbershop. The scent is based on a fire broke out in the Curling Brothers barbershop in Westlake, New York in 1891. All the shaving tonics, the spearmints, their limes, vanilla, and lavender, some of them mixed together and everything, were burned. 1/2 bottle was found in the rubble, charred, and this is the scent it came up with. So I'm just going to do it on my arm here. That's nice. That is nice. You pick up a charred lime and vanilla right away. There's a hint of spearmint there. It's kind of like in the background a little bit, but you can tell there's spearmint in it. I don't pick up the lavender. But I can smell a charred lime, charred vanilla type scent. That's really good, guys. That, if you have a barbershop soap and cologne set, this will pair perfectly with them after you shave for the cologne. That's perfect. Okay, I'll be right back with the shave. Don't go anywhere. All right, we're back. The soap today, Wholly Kaw Fougere Bouquet. Fougere Bouquet, excuse me. Fougere Bouquet. I had to put the scent notes in the description box. You know my nose is not that refined. If I know what I'm smelling for, I can pick it up. But to tell you what I'm smelling, my brain goes dead. It's a good scent. Just dead brain. Sorry, that's just me. Okay, we got that. That's one of the samples DJ sent me. For a razor, we're using a gem. I believe this is what the one they call the baton handle. I'm not sure. It's one that Dave in Kentucky sent me. It's got a brand new gem blade in it. And for an aftershave, since I got nothing to go with that cologne, I'm just going to use Wild Country from Avon. Okay. Yeah, my voice is not 100% back. It's mostly there, but not all the way. And for a brush, for a bowl, I'm using my oxhorn bowl. And for a brush, my Turner by Tansy 26 millimeter. I forgot what knot is in there. I'll have to look it up. Haven't used this brush in a little while, so I figured I'd give it a run. I'm sitting a little farther back. I haven't taken my legs off. There's a lot of soap in that brush. You'll see later when I squeeze it. All right, here we go. You know, at first I was not at all interested in any of these single edge razors. But the more videos I watched and the more people I saw saying how good they were, I was like, okay, maybe I'll give one a shot. And I did, and I really like them. Figures, right? So I say, and they're good shavers, they really are. So I say, instead of spending $70 on a newfangled half a DE blade single edge, I mean the thorn's okay, the twig thorn, whatever, they're okay. I got the thorn, which I'm gonna have to use on a head shave here shortly. It's okay, it's a good shaver, but I think this shaves better. I really do. So instead of going out and buying one of these high-end artisan ones, pick one of those up off of eBay for less than $20 and be happy. Get some decent amount of shaves out of the blades. You're good to go. Oh, that's warm. I just put that bowl in the palm of my hand. I got it on my little cup warmer over here, and it was pretty warm. Okay, this date in 1870, what happened? Do you have any clue? Yes, we're going back a ways, 1870. But it's kind of important. In the history of this country, it is kind of important. Because it relates to government regulating business. John D. Rockefeller incorporated Standard Oil. Like, okay, big deal. Well, it was a big deal. It was a very, very big deal back then. Because, I can put these back on now for a second. It was a big deal because in its height, Standard Oil in the 1880s controlled they had the tanker cars in the railroads. They had the pipelines. They had the refining plants. They had the oil rigs to pump it. They controlled 90% of the oil coming out of the ground in the United States. 90%. My page doesn't want to stand up for some reason. There, maybe that'll work. There we go. That's better. He controlled everything. And on 9/29/1916, this allowed John D. Rockefeller, over the years, to become the world's, not the United States, the world's first billionaire. He became the world's first billionaire, and his net worth was 2% of the national economy. His personal wealth was estimated in 1913 to be at $900 million. His personal wealth, not Standard Oil's, his personal, which was almost 3% of the U.S. DP. Or GDP, excuse me, the GDP. My toothbrush was in the way of the G. He was 3% of the U.S. GDP in 1913 at $39.1 billion that year. He was 3% of that. That was his peak net worth, which in the 1921 dollars was equivalent to, get this, $24.7 billion. And how did you get so rich besides controlling all the oil, you might ask? It's because the U.S. government filed a lawsuit against Standard Oil for being a monopoly and made the company, by a Supreme Court ruling in 1911, that Standard Oil must dismantle because it violated antitrust laws. It was broken up into 34 corporations. And some of those corporations still have the highest levels of revenue in the world. In the end, it turned out that the individual segments of the company, all 34 branches, were worth more than the entire Standard Oil company was when it was one company. So by breaking it up, they made it worth more than what it originally was. And guess who owned the majority stock in all 34 of those companies? You guessed it, John D. Rockefeller. The U.S. government made him richer than what he was when they were trying to make him poorer because they thought he was too rich. And that was part of the reason they broke up Standard Oil. Because some of those shares doubled and tripled in value in their very early years. So the U.S. government files a lawsuit saying, you're a monopoly. You need to break up. You're too big. You're making too much money. So Rockefeller, knowing this was going to happen, because he fought it in court, of course, but he knew it was going to happen. And he knew it was going to get broken up. So he formed some of these smaller corporations to sell Standard Oil off to. He formed some of them. And others he invested into and took over controlling interest. So when the government said you got to break it up, he sold it to the 34 entities that he had either created or was majority stockholder in, and increased his money big time, just beyond what the government thought he could do, probably. And there was many articles written. There was even a whole book written about Standard Oil and their business practices. Some of them were not what you would call conventional. Some of them were mafia style. They broke up strikes with guys carrying lead pipes and shotguns and whatnot, baseball bats. They did strike busting, and he made other small companies fall in line because he had controlling interest in the shipping of oil across the country. So the railroads that were shipping some of these smaller companies oil out, he pressured the rail company by saying, look, I'll pull all my transports from you and you're going to go bankrupt because I provide I'm your biggest client. I provide you the most money. So if you keep shipping his oil, their oil, I'll pull mine and you won't ship anything and you're going to go broke. So by not shipping, forcing the railroad companies not ship the other company's oil, the other company basically capitulated to Rockefeller in his wish to become majority stockholder because they were going to go broke if they didn't. I got a couple licks. He was the original mafioso in that regard. Gonna do the neck. We'll do this up here too. I don't think it really needs it, but we'll do the neck. Oops. Bowl just fell off the cup warmer. That bowl has no ass to it, has no weight. It was clean anyways. I got nothing here, nothing here. You hear cutting? Rockefeller was often quoted as saying, the growth of large business is merely survival of the fittest. And I'm sure you've heard that saying before, survival of the fittest. That's where it came from. He was the originator of that saying. We're good. We're BDS. Okay, I have to read this to you now. Because this is interesting. It was the Sherman Antitrust Act that he was in violation of with Standard Oil. And the Standard Oil Company Trust, which he had founded also, had 70% market share of refined oil and only 14% of the U.S. crude oil supply, though. He, at one point, was interested in trying to take over the world's oil supply. Oil was found in Southeast Asia, in the Pacific, and some of the islands like Java and stuff. There was oil found. There was oil found in Russia, and he couldn't get to those, so he gave up on his plan to control the world's oil. And then this is some of the companies. This is interesting. This is very interesting. Some of the companies that the Standard Oil was broken up to and sold to. Continental Oil, which became Conoco. now part of ConocoPhillips, which is still around. Standard of Indiana, which became Amoco, still around, which is now part of BP. Standard of California, which became Chevron. Standard of New Jersey, which, see, notice these? Standard of Indiana, Standard, those are all companies that Rockefeller founded to get the pieces of Standard Oil when it had to be broken up and sold off. Got myself decent on that one. Little Nickies over here. I always get. Okay. Standard of New Jersey, which became Esso. Remember Esso? I remember Esso. But that later became Exxon, which is now part of Exxon Mobil. Standard of New York, another Rockefeller started company, which became Mobil, now part of Mobil, Exxon Mobil. Exxon, Esso, and Mobil are now Exxon Mobil. And Standard of Ohio, another Standard company he started, which became Sohoy, which is now part of BP, which is one of the biggest oil drilling companies in the world. And then Pennzoil and Chevron have always remained separate companies. But you notice how many of those were Standard of California, Standard of New York, Standard of New Jersey. They were all companies founded by Rockefeller. Just give a little scrubbies. A little scrub. Nice face wash. Good scent on that soap. Really good scent. But at his height, he was worth almost $25 billion in 2021 money. That's a lot of flipping money, guys. And the Rockefeller family still owns stock in every one of those companies. Everyone. They may not have controlling interest in all of them anymore, but they own stock, a majority of stock, a good majority of stock. Not all of it, not a controlling majority, but they own quite a bit of stock in all those companies. They're still making money hand over fist. Gentleman John Allen Block, which I definitely need on my neck especially. Yeah, that's like a 3 on this side. Yeah, that's like a 3 on that side too. Nothing up here though. Cold and wet. Yeah, nothing on the face. Just on the neck. See, the U.S. government, because there was a lot of newspapers and articles and stuff written about Rockefeller and his business practices and Standard Oil and their business practices and how they were forcing smaller companies out. They weren't really forcing smaller companies out. They were buying them. They were becoming the controlling interest, and how they controlled all the oil and were a monopoly, and everybody was bitching and complaining about it. So they finally got the U.S. government, all the complaining finally got the U.S. government to file charges against them for antitrust violations and forced him to break the company up. Stick. I'm going to use it on that one. Okay. Witch hazel? But in what they did, they just made him more money. So like I said, he founded most of those freaking companies that ended up buying Standard Oil. Love that. Wild Country's a great scent, guys. You can still buy it on eBay. It's not that expensive. Comes in several different containers. Nivea, Maximum Hydration. That's not that much, but it's a lot. Almost $25 billion in today's money. That's outrageous. Thank you, U.S. government. I'm sure you're saying that because, like I said, he fought it. You know, he and his lawyer sat in the Supreme Court and they fought it in the courts. But they didn't fight it that hard because he knew what was going to happen. He was a great businessman. He knew what was going to happen. So he kind of let it happen. He spent the last 40 years of his life mostly as a philanthropy. He founded the University of Chicago and Rockefeller University, of course, and he funded the establishment of the Central Philippine University in the Philippines. But he spent most of his last 40 years, doing charitable work. Some of his companies were involved in medicine, advancing medicine, dentistry, advancing dentistry, and advancing science. So he spent a lot of his personal wealth trying to improve human society besides just making money. He had enough money. And I'm sure none of that even put a dent in what he was feeling because he made money right up to his death because he owned stock in all those companies. So he was making money like just doing nothing and giving away millions a year. Excuse me again. Yeah, my voice. Now I picked up a cough. The last 3 days I picked up a cough. And it feels like my lungs, I'm drowning sometimes. So I don't know what the hell I've got. It ain't good, whatever it is. So don't get it. It's not fun. But I got that to stop at least. But good shavers. I mean, yeah, I nick myself all the time. So it's hard to say about that. But they're good shavers. I'm clean. I'm BBS all the way around. So, like I said, $20-25 on eBay as opposed to $170 for some artisan thing. And don't tell me this isn't well made. This is from like what, the 30s? So this thing's almost 100 years old. It might be older than that. So, you know, it's well made. It's good stuff. So, like I said, I wasn't interested in them at first, but now I am. I like them. All right. We are allowed to change our minds, are we not? All right, guys. Coming up on the end here. I appreciate everybody being here, new and old. Appreciate you all for showing up. Don't forget the affiliate link, which somebody used the other day. Appreciate it. When that account hits $25, I get a gift card to the razor company, and I buy a $25 gift card and give it back to you guys. When we hit 400 subs, I'll also be doing another gift card for 400 subs. So I appreciate you all being here. Thank you very much. Don't forget the 4 channels I'll link in the description box. Give them a sub. We'll try to boost their numbers. Like I said, I appreciate you all being here. Love you all. Thank you very much. Without you, I'm not here. Plain and simple. It's all about you guys. So, thank you once again for about 5th time. Appreciate you being here. Enough of the babbling fat guy in the camera. You're in the chair next. Happy shaves out there, guys.